right, I'm ready.
Hold on a second. I'm just gonna play
Oh.
some music in the background for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I done seen some darker days. Take drugs and numb the pain. They say it's gonna be okay. Well, that ain't today. Pray the Lord I beat the case. I know I made mistakes. I don't really wanna pay. Need someone to say it.
For those of you all that are already listening in live, we'll get started around noon.
I am hearing you out now. Well, how I'm supposed to talk with nobody that hit me out? Tell me how I'm supposed to win when people wanna see me down. I was right there with my mans when they pulled up and gunned them down. That's the reason why I always gotta keep my gun around. Out here wild, I guess they got me labeled as a hoodlum now. Not give up, I guess they got me labeled as a hoodlum now. Not give up, I guess they got me.
I'm here now. Let me tell you how to win. You gotta give it up. Everybody not your friend. Labeled you a hoodlum. How you gonna win? It's your frame of thought that changes your predicament.
But you don't understand that feeling seeing them on that ground. When I say thunderstorm, no lie, man, it was pouring down. I wanted them all in, I'm going for it now. They say I'm talking too much, time for me to show them now. Success, man, I know more about neglect. I'm talking poverty, sleeping with roaches in a wretch. And even though my granny raised me different from the rest, I'm only stuck on one thing, and that's the thing that I know best.
Been there, I done that, I seen them on the ground. You think it was pouring then, keep looking to the clouds. Tomorrow's a brighter day, but you gotta stay focused. Let bygones be stepping stones, forget about the roaches. Rats are everywhere, even when you ain't sleep. Being sidetracked by drama is definitely for the weak. Turn your pain to prosperity and your passion to a flame. Ignite it around the world, make the people hear your name.
Leave a legacy, is that basically what you telling me? Keep throwing dirt on my name, I see the jealousy. Wanna see Daddy break down something you would never see. This situation don't hurt me, this shit just better me. I'm trying to move my granny somewhere where the weather's sweet. And yeah, it's hard to stay focused when people testing me. But I can't let no simple nigga get the best of me. That's on my auntie, I'ma do it to
Through
the
the
devil.
jealousy, we leaving legacies. They done do dirt on my name, can't get the best of me. Hear it now, I break down, man, that'll never be. Through the hurt and the pain, I'm where I gotta be. It ain't no need to look down, cause I'm a better me.
I understand now that life is only what you make it. And if you want it, they ain't gon' give it, you gotta take it. But look, the journey ain't gon' be easy, so don't mistake it. Be sure to always trust yourself and forgive out the hatred. And cause you was dealt a certain hand on me, you gotta take it. I get it, if I want my dreams true, then I gotta chase them. Chase them. Chase them.
The system really ain't fun. It's made for them to slay us. Ain't no destruction, only get one. So I advise you keep your head up. The system really ain't fun. It's made for them to slay us. Ain't no destruction, only get one. So I advise you keep your head up. 15 years old, trying to make it out, now I'm locked up in the system. 17, fighting 30, I repent, ask for forgiveness. I'm gon' chase a cat up, fist, run up a sack all in the trench. VIP that you lie there, screaming, rest up all my niggas. Yeah, I'm sitting doing time, but the Lord only my witness. That I'm trying to really change. I'm gon' do it for myself and for my homies who ain't here fighting the high school. I'm gon' finish, and for Nathan, I'm gon' ball. That's my bro, he taught me plenty. The system really ain't fun. It's made for them to slay us. Ain't no distraction, only get one. So I advise you keep your head up. The system really ain't fun. It's made for them to slay us. Ain't no distraction, only get one. So I advise you keep your head up.
All right. Good afternoon. If you're in Central or Eastern Time in the United States, and good morning. If you're in Mountain or Pacific, welcome to Confine and Isolate and Free Write Arts and Literacy in the Baldwin Protocols reading series. For the last 20 years, Freeride has provided arts education for criminalized youth in Cook County, primarily at the Juvenile Temporary Detention Center, but also more recently at Cook County Division 10. Freeride also works with our students when they are released and begin work as community navigators. And we're doing so this year as part of the Access to Justice initiative. We understand that when our young people are released, they're working hard at looking for jobs, trying to enroll in school, forwarding their arts training, trying to figure out how to get a driver's license, a passport, and they're helping their colleagues figure those things out as well. In that work, they are making their communities safer and stronger, and it is our responsibility to support them in that. Today, we're in the midst of a pandemic. We can argue that we've been in the pandemic of youth incarceration for many, many years now. As a result, our guests today have some stories to tell. They are alumni and grad students in our artistic disciplines, community navigators, and we have one other program director, and we're going to have a conversation about what it means to be confined and isolated, and how the lessons they learned as they fought for the affirmation of their humanity continue to bless them in the current moment, and how it might bless you. You're looking at our screen, and you might notice that our participants have chosen to use pen names. We respect the rights of our young people to not have to represent themselves publicly as formerly incarcerated at every moment. But trust me, you're about to hear from some beautiful and brilliant young people. Welcome to Confine and Isolate. And before we even get further started, enough respect to Elgin Bukhari Smith on all the technical things happening in this conversation today. And he's also
what's going on?
The other Freeride Arts and Literacy Program Director present with me today. We're going to start kind of how we start in the classroom and just see where people are at, right? These young people have kind of guided us in the evolution of our pedagogy over the years. And so we're going to, begin by having that at display. So let me hear from you all from 0 to 10. Tell me how you feel today. And, and then tell me just a little bit more about where you're at in this moment, in this coronavirus madness. Diasi, you want to start?
So what's up right now? I'm feeling good, so I'm like at an 8. Hope you can see me. Hold on. Yeah, so I'm like at an 8. I'm feeling good today.
All right.
Right now, during this moment, so I've been working at home a lot, so
right.
I've just been trying to stay safe.
Right. Free C30, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. On the scale of 1 to 10, I'm feeling like a 7. I got a slight headache, but I'm still good. I'm up. Had breakfast. I'm feeling good. At this moment, in the bed. I had played like GTA a little bit, feel me, this morning. And here we are. So I'm just trying to, stay safe. And, just stay on top of emails for work and stuff like that.
Cool. All right, thank you. And Young God, how you feel? Your microphone. Back around to him. Elgin, how you feeling today?
Yo, so today I'm feeling pretty good. Had some coffee this morning. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm probably I'm a 10 today, man. Just seeing the way that we can participate and interact with folks. It makes me really excited to see everything that we have the potential to do. So thank you guys so much for everyone that's joining in on the stream right now. This is the first time we ever did anything like this. So, yeah, man, hope to do more. And I hope the sound is coming through okay and everything. So, thank you guys so much. And I'm feeling good.
Roger.
Oh, we can't hear you, Raj.
I'm kind of at a 9 today. I'm always at a better place when I get a chance to talk to y'all. So, that's where I am. Let me just jump in with the first question, and you all take it from here and tell me what's good. As we've had to lock ourselves down or restrict ourselves from going places, what's the most difficult thing that you've had to deal with? Free C30, you've been talking a little bit about this before we got on air. So, but any of you, please just jump in and tell us what's the most difficult thing you've had to deal with.
Well, like, so you mean as far as in here or in there? You feel me? Like,
Well, I mean, in here first of all. But if you want to expand and talk about like the similarities of in there, like you can do that too.
I'm gonna be honest, and like me being like brutally honest about it is like this lockdown in like no way can ever compare to like a real lockdown ever. Like not even the slightest in any way possible. And if you are able to draw a comparison, the only person that can is a person that has been incarcerated. Like I don't feel it's fair that if somebody that's never been incarcerated or been behind like bars to or a cell, you know what I'm saying, a locked door, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and there's many different forms, you know what I'm saying, that you could be like closed in. But like coming from like a instance of where like, you know, like you on a very long tier or like deck or a floor and you in a cell, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you either have a cell or you don't. And everyone else, you know, on that strip of like different cells, like adjacent from each other and down from each other on a long hallway with a door at the end of it that can close. And on the other side of that door is another office with a door where a guard would be, you know what I'm saying, who's supposed to like look out for y'all, or, you know what I'm saying? When both of them doors close and you have your door and it's closed and can't nobody hear you, and you in that room and it's like brick wall and there's like just a sink in the bed, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like, it feel like a real lockdown. And you try not to, you know what I'm saying, think about like that person probably can't even hear you, you know what I'm saying? There's probably other people on the deck kicking the door, tweaking, yelling like, you know, CO, and they not trying to hear them and they already yelling. So you definitely not gonna get hurt if you're farther away from the door. You know what I'm saying? I remember being the furthest person from the door. So like just sitting there and then not having, you don't even got no clock in your room, you know, or no watch or no way to, you know, no sense of time. So you just like, that's just, you just stuck.
So you're saying that the sense of not being heard is one of the ways in which it feels even more isolating than, or I shouldn't say even more isolating, but it underscores the fact of being locked away. Is that what I'm
exactly? Yeah, like that's like the that's the thing that always like kind of got to me the most. I feel like is like I'm in there in a situation where like I'm locked behind this door and you in that little bitty room and you might need tissue, or you know what I'm saying, you might be having a heart attack, you know what I'm saying, you might can't breathe, like, you know, it's been time, like, you know what I'm saying, like they might mace, you know what I'm saying, the whole deck or something, or the wing or whatever, and then y'all in y'all rooms now, you still coughing, you know what I'm saying, 'cause you can't breathe, and then it's like, you gotta hope, you know what I'm saying, you better hope, you know what I'm saying, that somebody check on you in time, but like you was hitting it on the head on that point of like not being heard, you know what I'm saying, like, so your cries for help, like even if you could muster up a cry, you wouldn't get heard, and then you locked behind the wall, so no one can come for you. Right. You know what I'm saying? But that person can't hear you. Right. So you stuck. And then you supposed to have this little button on your wall that like alerts the, you know what I'm saying, officer to come check on you, but that don't work. And that's probably hasn't worked for like 100 years, you know? Right. A lot of facilities be old.
Right. Anybody else want to chime in with that? Young
hey, and Roger, sorry to cut you off.
No problem.
Miss Obama just let me know that she was trying to join back in. So she was saying that she's waiting on like to get accepted back into the
Oh yeah, just check your joint, Raj.
Yeah, because I said
I don't have her. She's not listed here.
Tell her to try to call back in one more time and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
tell her I'm gonna send her a new new invite.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Meanwhile, Young God, you wanna jump in and tell us a little bit about what's been most difficult for you in this coronavirus lockdown, and maybe what it recalls for you of being incarcerated.
Oh, you gotta unmute your mic, Famo.
Let me switch that conversation over to Santana.
Oh, so like, real for me, for the most part, like I've been having like a lot of work to catch up on. So like me being in the house a lot, it kind of helped, but at the same time, all my job and work is online now, so I gotta be like on point every second, or I'm gonna be like delayed and backed up. As far as me being incarcerated when I was in there, it was like a way different experience.
Right.
You just sitting in your room with nothing but time on your hand, and like you don't know what time it is, you don't know how long you've been in your room. You just like, dang. And then most of the time I ain't really had nothing to do but read. So like it's really a big difference. Big different experience. Like as far as like the pandemic going on, not going outside, like you got more like privileges. So I like it's real different.
Sure.
So you say you're doing a lot of work at home. May I ask, and of course you don't have to answer this, what kind of work are you what kind of work are you getting into these days? I know you have some music that you're working on, but what else are you working on these days?
So besides my music, I work with a youth advocate called the YAP program. That's like another way for like youth that's being released on parole from juvenile facilities to help like them get on their feet.
All right.
Like, cause it's kind of hard. Like me coming from just getting released, and I see how it is.
Right. Cool. So you said just now that the only thing you had to do, there was nothing to do but read when you were in that particular situation. Um, what do we? Let me ask this question. Were you an avid reader before you got incarcerated? And if not, what kind of put you on that path?
So like before I got like incarcerated, I wasn't really like reading a lot because I was more like an athlete. So like I in the sports and outdoors. But when I got incarcerated, it was like, man, everything had a schedule. So it was like I couldn't go be an athlete when I wanted to. So I had to pick up a new hobby, which was reading. And then at certain moments you had to be in your room. So you'd be like, you ain't had nothing but to do but read and kill time. Or write music. And that was like therapeutic for me. So I stay sane. It was a way.
Miss Obama has just joined us. We're
Raj, make sure you rename her first. Just make sure to rename.
We're talking a little bit about what it's been like to be out here at a time where there is lockdown and you can't move around. And Free C30 and Santana have gone on to start talking about the similarities between that and between the idea of being incarcerated. You want to jump in and tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can. So the idea of moving into a different environment or readjusting for me, it wasn't that hard for me because it was already structured and disciplined in my household already. So moving into a different environment that maybe had not had the same thing, the same rule. The rules was different for me, which I had to adjust to, which was asking to move, having a set schedule to eat, asking to go to the bathroom, um, and things like that was different for me. But I didn't find it that much hard to do.
And now that you've come out, right? You know, Santana is just telling us about reading being one of the ways in which he started to cope, because things that he normally did before he couldn't use to cope. So what did you find while you were incarcerated that helped you cope in the first moments of your beginning to feel, okay, well, this is different, or this is a little bit more difficult for me to deal with than where I was before?
I had many coping skills, but in the beginning it was hard. But some coping skills I used was music, isolating myself, having like downtime to think. One thing I would do is, in place of talking to mental health, I would just write things down, everything that I felt or I felt that I didn't want to share with others. I'll just write it down. I'll read it a couple of times, and then I'll say, okay, how can I change this? And then I'll just rip it up. Um, Sometimes I'll, yeah, just probably just sing to myself, write, and listen to music. That was about it. Because I didn't really trust the process of sitting down talking to someone about my problems, and I still don't. Like I always felt like, what could the next person do? Like I just felt like putting my problems on somebody else is just, I mean, I just don't like doing it. So I rather write it down, say it to myself multiple times, and see what ways I can change it and what I can do about it, and then just rip it up if I feel like it's that confidential. If I feel like it's not, I'll just write it in my journal so I can go back to it and see, okay, on this date, I felt this way. A year later, let me see how I feel. Or a month later, see if I'm making progress.
Okay, let's go. So I'm often talking to people about what the significance of writing has been for me in my ability to change my thinking, even outside of my ability to write a poem, right? But my ability to actually control how my mind might respond to something. Go a little deeper in that, and also tell us what is the significance of your ripping that stuff up after you wrote it down.
The significance is just it's a relief. I mean, like when I'm angry, I try to do things that don't cause harm to others. So ripping it up is just
leave it alone.
It's like it's an outlet. So it makes me feel like, okay, if I don't want to hit this person, I could just rip this paper up.
Right. Excellent. I see we have Marshawn is here joining us. How are you today, Marshawn?
I'm good. I was in the studio last night.
Okay. What you working on?
Yes,
All right.
so I just dropped like 3 songs yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm about to upload them onto YouTube. Yeah, some of my new material. The studio decent out here in Vegas. I had to pay $90 for the studio for like
Word.
3 hours, 2-3 hours.
All right. I mean, that's still a decent price, all things considered.
Yeah, for a professional studio, yeah, it is. I'm gonna upload the pictures when I get done.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
But I'm good.
All right. We already jumping into it, Marshawn, and we've been talking to people about having to be confined and not be able to move around too much while you're out here, and how that compares or doesn't compare to when you were incarcerated, and talk a little bit about that, and feel free to expand on anything you feel like saying where that's concerned.
I mean, well, it's really different because, of course, you can't go nowhere and stuff like that. But when you actually locked up, it's a different momentum. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. Like you have freedom even though you have to stay in the house or do whatever, you can still breathe. You know, smoke. You can't do that when you in a cell.
Right.
So that's the difference.
And Santana was telling us that he started reading, right, as one thing. Miss Obama over here is telling us that she started writing down things she wanted to change about herself and ripping them up. If you had to pick one thing that you started doing while incarcerated that assisted you in doing that time, what you would say it was?
That assisted me?
Yeah, like if you say, Santana said he started to read, Miss Obama said she started to write and tear up that writing. What did you start doing while incarcerated that helped you handle the fact of that being locked up?
Oh, my writing, cause I ain't know how to write before I got locked up. I ain't know how to rap or nothing like that. Now my shit going up. I ain't know how to do all that.
Okay.
But it gave me a sense. It gave me a sense of mind. It gave me a thought process to really think about what I want to do. Write my goals and shit down. It give you time to sit down and think what you gonna do with your life, basically. You know what I'm saying? Instead of if you actually in the streets, you really don't get time to think because there's too much stuff going on. And that's how people get locked up quick, man. They get trapped in the streets. Too much is going on so fast, you really don't got time to reprocess or really sit down and think like you in a library or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I'm gonna ask you to go even further. Tell us a little bit of the story. You say you didn't know how to write, you didn't know how to rap and shit before you got incarcerated. Tell us a little bit of the story of how you began writing and rapping while you were locked up.
To be honest, it was free write because I wasn't writing before I went to free write. You know what I'm saying? Until I actually learned the craft and stuff like that. But before I was locked up, I asked my brothers and them was rapping. You know what I'm saying? And they always, oh, yeah, you can't rap or the bed. So when I got locked up, shit, I tried it. I just come off my story on paper and shit. People started liking it. So that was my passion. I liked it. Yeah, I loved it. That what gave me joy. Word. I damn near broke down in the studio yesterday rapping. You know what I'm saying? Speaking my life story. That's how. If it could touch me like that, it could touch other people. And people told me that my music touched them. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change souls.
Yeah. I hear that. Free C30. I'm gonna come back to you real quick. And I just want to remind you all, when I come back to you and I ask you a question, feel free to throw it over to one of the others if you remember that there is something that they can speak to that as well, right? So Free C30, you and I have had hella conversations since you've been released, and there are any number of ways that it seems to me that you found or evolved for yourself or decided upon how you were going to deal with this moment in order to get through the question of being locked up. Speak to any one of those moments or any of those things you think that were most useful to you during that time.
Cool. So I keep thinking back, you know what I'm saying, to being cause it's a difference. I could break, you know what I'm saying? I did 5 years from when I was 15 to 20, and I could really break down so much differences and little things to help. Cause it's everybody incarceration was different, even though we all been incarcerated. We have one shared experience, but I know people that's been locked up but never locked down, because that's a whole different world too. I remember being in an ID home in 2015, and we got into a big riot, you know what I'm saying, outside, and we jumped the wall, and it was a whole bunch, and everybody's like, oh, that's the craziest thing, you know what I'm saying, the kids ever done here. And we had just got a new superintendent at the facility, and he was from Detroit or something. What was his name? Where you from? PIC, where you from? He's from Detroit. So they oh, he's the crackdown guy. He's not tolerating no bullshit here. So he's gonna show you guys, you know what I'm saying, what's the consequences for doing this. Mm-hmm. So usually, you know what I'm saying, when we get into fights and stuff, you be in your room for like a day or 24 hours. And at first, it used to be like when you fight, it'll be 24 hours from that time where you'll be locked in your room. And it's a little room, like that's like a real little room. And we'll be in that we ended up doing that, and we got putting our rooms on lockdown or whatever. And they told us that we was we had to have a hearing officer come, and they was like, you know, they gonna tell us how long we finna be in the room. So the hearing officer's like, y'all gotta be in y'all room for 7 days. So we like, what? 7 days? We like, that ain't never ever happened before. Like y'all can't keep us in the room for 7 days. But then we thought about it, like, shit, who can we tell? We like, we can't go to the phone and tell our moms, and tell a lawyer, tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? We like, shit, what they finna do? So they like, shit, y'all gotta do. They told us in hours, so it was like 100 or so. It was a whole bunch of hours. They were like, it was like how much that equal to, and it was like 7 days. So in an Adi home, it's different from like in like, you know, like the docks or something where like you got, you know what I'm saying? You got maybe had clothes in your rooms and books and like food or commissary. Like in an Adi home, you can't buy commissary and all that. So shit, it's just the only thing in your room is probably gonna be books, but they took the books and everything out of all our rooms, all our clothes. So it's literally just a mattress, a little mattress, a sheet, and one extra sheet, and your sink and your toilet. So we have to be in there for like 7 days, and shit. It was like, you know, you kind of like, I ain't gonna lie, like you kind of go crazy after so many days, like. Because in the first couple of days, everybody was kind of, you know, we still checking on each other, hitting on the wall, like, oh, what up, man? How you feeling? Oh, I'm cool, telling stories all night. Then it's like after like 4 days, like, you know, everybody wake up. And it's like, it get to like 1 p.m. before you even hear somebody say nothing. You just hear toilet flushes all day. You might hear somebody groan or this and that, or say something like, yo, what's up? Oh, shit, man. Yeah. Then they go back to sleep. Like, you just sleep all day. You try to sleep. And then we couldn't have no books. So it's like, this shit was real messed up, but you know that, you know what I'm saying? And like trying not to think about how locked in you are in that room. I remember me and you was talking about that, Roger, was like you could get in like you could get yourself in a real deep dark place if you really, really sat down and like really, really thought about like when you was in that room on lockdown. And, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't get out that room no matter what. Like if your mama died, your grandma, like yo, you know what I'm saying? Anything in your life can happen right now. Like that door gonna be there and that's gonna be closed. Like, and me, I had a set number of time. So like, there was no cut time. There was no getting out early. I could be the best person in the world. I could help if an officer would have fell out and had a baby, I could have helped her deliver a baby. I remember stopping guards from getting beat up, all type of stuff. Helping other dudes, you know what I'm saying, from getting jumped, stopping people from taking people food, all that. But that don't never get you out early. Like you gonna always sit down and you don't get no, you know what I'm saying? You don't get extra for nothing. It's just, you gotta stay strong and not think about how locked in you are in that room. You know what I'm saying? I remember making faces and making weird noise to kill time, like doing push-ups. Like, cause it's like you in there by yourself. So I'm in there making funny noises, like, you know what I'm saying, you used to do when we was kids. But like you in that cell, like, am I tweaking? I'm like, oh, I'm going crazy. I'm in here doing like weird stuff. I'm like, I don't be doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh yeah, it's cause, you know what I'm saying, these people trying to break into my brain, you know what I'm saying, mess me up. But it's like, I got to try to stay strong and fight through this. Like, I know it's going to be a day when I get out. So I'm not going to let my brain, you know what I'm saying, deteriorate.
Right. I'm going to come back to a point you made there, Free C30, about it doesn't matter what you did. That stuff wasn't registered. That stuff wasn't having any impact on the time that you spent incarcerated. But I see Young God has rejoined us. So I wanna, you know, throw the conversation back to him again. Where you go? Oh yeah. So yeah, we were just talking about like now that we're locked down in this coronavirus moment, how has that been similar or not similar to the moments of being locked up? And you know, and feel free to expand on that and talk about like how you dealt with it, and you know, like how did you first deal with it, what you discovered to help you deal with it, and how that went.
I mean, I was second guessing it. I was like, my man, like I be thinking a lot, so sometimes I'm an obsessive thinker. So I be thinking like it's stuff bigger than the coronavirus, like the government, the Secret Service, and all this that's going on. So due to all this stuff that's going on, my thinking just go further, and sometimes I be overthinking situations. So I just look at it like I look at it from all aspects. I weigh out all my options, but I still it's something going on. It's something going on that's killing people. But you got to understand the coronavirus has been around for a minute. If you look on the back of bottles and stuff, and everything that's going on, it's been around, but it's I don't know. I just think I think a lot on situations, but as far as with this being something similar to locked up, no, it's nothing similar to that. It's nothing similar to that because we still have freedom. There's still our choice. We still have a choice to go outside. You know what I'm saying? And now you don't have no choice. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't do what you want, but you can do what you want out here. You take your own risk.
Right. So you just identified yourself as an overthinker. Would you have identified yourself as that when you were incarcerated? Do you feel that the period of your incarceration kind of developed that in you? How would you? What's the relationship?
Yeah, I developed a lot as being locked up because I read on a lot of knowledge and it expanded my mind, and I prayed for it. I prayed for knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and he gave it to me. He gave me knowledge, wisdom, understanding. So now he unlocked a part of my brain that has me to think beyond other things. So now it came to me. It came to me while I was locked up. You know what I'm saying? I seek knowledge, and that's just one thing I do when I was locked up. I work out and I read. You know what I'm saying, to stay out of trouble.
I used to work for a big textbook company, right? And there was this whole project I did one time where I was investigating how people came by their literacy, right? Like whatever kind of literacy, whether it was they're good at music, whether it was they're good at cooking, but what is the print literacy thing that brought you to that? So Santana is talking about he started to read more, you talking about you started to read more, etc. I know for a fact that Miss Obama and Free C30 and Marshawn also talked a little bit about that. Each of you, go around and tell me, while you were incarcerated, what book or what piece of writing was the most important piece of literature for you to encounter while you were incarcerated?
I can go first. Before I got incarcerated, I didn't read much. I probably just used to do the audio read. But once I got incarcerated, people used to tell me you should read this book, I'm like, no, I don't want to read. And one of my staff asked me why you don't like to read? I was like, because when I'm reading, it's boring. It loses my interest. I can't continue to. I probably read a line or two and be like, oh, I don't want to read this. It's not interesting. So she gave me this book called A Piece of Cake by Cupcake Brown. And I read it. When I read the first 2 lines, I just kept reading it. And every day she asked me what chapter you on now? What chapter you on now? And I read it in 3 days. And I looked up I actually read this book, but I noticed I read it because I could relate to it. It was an urban fiction book. So I was like, only books I can read is the books that I can relate to, that catch my interest because I can relate to it. So then she kept on giving me urban books. I started reading the Cartel books. I started reading Tracy Brown books. And then she threw some other books in there, she threw in Think and Grow Rich. And then I just kept on reading from there. And Think and Grow Rich it's not an urban book at all. It's a book that teaches you how to expand your mind to different things, and it's on a whole nother level. But I say that to say when someone not reading or trying to get someone to read, I think it's good for them to read something they can relate to first, so they get the feeling of reading. And because reading is a whole nother aspect of teaching. Once you start reading, you get into a whole nother world. I should say, it's a different world. So that's what helped me start reading. I haven't been reading much since I've been out because I got other stuff going on. But yeah, I did the most reading when I was incarcerated.
Word. Who else want to jump in? Tell me about what was most important to you to read while you were locked up.
I'll go. What was most important for me to read when I was locked up, what caught my eye, was a book called 7 Powers of Success. It's called The 7 Powers of Success by Charles something. I forgot his last name. But
Okay.
it stuck out. It stuck out to me because I was like the things that's in there, like the things you need in life. Like that's what I like reading. I like reading stuff that'll help me in life. Like books on real estate, like books on like stuff that'll help me. I don't really like reading like movies or books like for five, like, but entertainment I like reading for knowledge. Like that's what I search for. So in the 7 power of success, you got the power of choice, you got the power of the power of vision, the power of mind, the power of character, the power of belief. It's 2 more powers, but you need all 7 powers for to succeed. And how they put it together, they say that's like your success vehicle. Because you look at the power of vision is your windshield. If your windshield blurry, you can't see. You can't see your vision. You know what I'm saying? Your navigation system is your mind. You know what I'm saying? Your choices is the steering wheel. The way you steer your life is the way you're gonna go. And the power of action is the gas. If you never put forward action, you'll never go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And then the repair kit is like the power of failure. I mean, if you never fail, you never know what not to do. So that's you got to get back up, repair, and keep moving forward. So that book stuck out to me because of the things that's in it and how put everything together. And like I learned a lot from it.
One of the ways for me that I feel like I've come by some clarity at one point in my life is by changing how I eat. Right? So for instance, at the beginning of this year, for about a 6-week stretch, I went completely plant-based, completely vegan. And of course it changed my body, but it also changed, like I feel like I achieved a kind of clarity I had not achieved before. Since you're talking about vision, young God, tell me what, apart from the act of reading, can you point out one other thing that helped you achieve that clarity while you were locked up, or even since you've come out?
One of the things that helped me, could you repeat that again?
Yeah, anything that you feel gave you that sense of clarity, because you talked about vision like a windscreen that's messed up, right?
Yes.
If you could pinpoint a moment at which that windscreen became clear and you achieved some kind of clarity, what would you say the moment is?
The moment is like when I took control over like first thing you have to do, you have to take responsibilities and accept things and not make no excuses for anything. That's when you starting to clear your windshield. That's when you clearing everything up. Like far as like how people make mistakes, but they try and throw it off on other people. But when you start to accept the fact that it was your fault, because can't nobody do anything that you want them to do, and you got control over your own life. So that's when I noticed, like, I started to clear my vision up, because I started to take responsibility of my actions, and that's what helped me to stay out of trouble and jail and everything, and to move forward, like, you know.
Word. Santana, you said, you know, you used to be an athlete and you realized you had to do something else, so you went to reading. Miss Obama here say she wasn't really into reading, but somebody gave her some stuff and it was already. Did you have to be convinced, or did you find a thing, or did you go to it willingly? How was your relationship with reading?
Also, can we acknowledge the fact that he ain't make none of them shots though? So you know what I mean. I know he's saying he hooped, but he probably didn't. So I'm just going, you know what I mean. He probably wasn't making nothing, but it's cool.
I do got several trophies, but you know I ain't even gonna speak on that. But for me though, it was like I kind of went to it. So like after a while, I got tired of being like just sitting around watching TV or being in my room just trying to force myself to sleep. So I was like, man, there's a few books around here. So it was like a way just to be like somewhere else while I'm in a different space. So for me, it was kind of like living in my own head. I was just like killing time.
Word. Do you remember what's the first book you picked up?
Oh, it's crazy because the first book I did pick up was actually from like my mental health. And it was like this book called 48 Laws of Power. And I was like, man, this is a big book. That's what I remember. I'm like, you really want me to read this? I know me because this book's big. But then when I got my own one day, I was really reading it. I was like, man, this got a lot of knowledge in it.
Word.
I want to read a lot of more books. That's how I got started.
And this question is for everybody. What do you think so far? And I know this is a hard question if you've read a lot, but what's your favorite book that you've read so far?
So like a lot of people won't believe it because like from my background, but like the best book I ever read was like really like the Bible.
Okay.
Like it always been like a real mystery for me. I was like, man, I got more religious by being incarcerated.
Okay. Marshawn, what do you think so far is the most interesting thing you've read?
Marshawn, you good over there?
All right, I'm swing back to him. Free C30. What do you think so far is the most interesting thing? Or I mean, you can pick any number of books you want for that matter.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I ate too many books to even try to count. But I'll tell you, I want because the whole time we've been talking, everybody been talking. I've been definitely listening, but I've been trying to categorize my number one because I got so many books that have been very influential in my life. Because I had phases of my life, and I grew up from a child, teenager to a man, like while reading and everything, and like being incarcerated. But I would definitely say what pushed me off the cliff and to make me like who I am, the man today, is probably Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow. That like did something like, cause like after I read that book, that's what made me kind of lose the lust of like that gang culture and lifestyle because I realized there was a bigger system that was like, you know what I'm saying, over our people and oppressing us and help shifting and gearing our brains towards the you know what I'm saying, the stuff that I was into and that I you know what I'm saying, that we make look beautiful and think that's amazing and cool and all that, you know what I'm saying, that type of stuff. And realizing that, you know what I'm saying, it's strategically placed in our life and it's there. And why you think, you know what I'm saying, where you grew up looked like it was, you know what I'm saying, did it always look like that? Where did things come from and connecting the dots and things like that? But that and The Prince by Machiavelli, Think and Grow Rich, 48 Laws of Power, like those for sure. But them definitely books. They're like, but like I think Michelle Alexander's New Jim Crow is very, very helpful in my life. But what got me a comprehensive reader and like a like steady touching books and paper and flipping pages was The Cartel. Ashley and Jaquavis Coleman, like them urban fiction writers, like they got me like picking up and getting used to reading, you know what I'm saying, hundreds and thousands of words a day. And then once I got good at reading and seeing those words and being familiar and not irritated by holding a book, I'm like, well, let me put some potency and some education and some knowledge in my life. And then that's where I was able to, you know what I'm saying, get to those books.
Can you speak a little bit more about that whole, you said that being irritated by holding a book. Can you speak a little bit more towards that?
Yeah, so when I first started, like, you know what I'm saying, like, well, when I was a shorty, like, I remember, like, my OG used to always try to, like, make me read, and they used to be, like, real irritating, because I used to be, like, you know, like nobody kind of, I felt like when I was a kid, like, nobody wanted to read, you know what I'm saying? People only read because they probably got in positions and places where, you know what I'm saying, like, they work or their school or something is forcing them to read. So it's like irritating. And to me, I'm like, well, I don't want to do it unless I get to a place where I have to, I'm forced to. And then I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm seeing people and hearing people like, you know, who read for enjoyment and pleasure and entertainment. And I just didn't buy it at first because I'm like, you know, books are boring and, you know, stuff like that. But like for some reason as a kid, I fell in love with words. Like that was my thing as a kid. Like I could always, like, you know what I'm saying? I had a very, very, very extensive vocabulary since a really little kid. Like that was like my thing as a kid growing up, you know what I'm saying? In schools, like the teachers always knew like, well, he the vocabulary dude, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't, but I could read really, really well. I just didn't like to read. I just like, I could read, comprehend like really good. Like I was always before my years. And then end up getting locked up. And then I sat in rooms all day and read and be in a day room and TV areas reading. I remember it got so bad. Like I remember dudes used to even fight over books. Real talk. Like we used to fight over books in jail. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't even have enough sometimes. And people used to want the books other people had. And then now thinking about it, like You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Some of the stuff we used to argue, you know what I'm saying, fight each other for. When really, you know what I'm saying, I remember one time we made a little circle, you know what I'm saying, like on our own without the staff and nobody prompting us. We was like, let's talk about these books and shit, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about 48 Laws of Power. Let's talk about bettering each other. And you know what I'm saying, being for each other as men. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, bro, we not enemies, you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, going through that type of stuff. And then, like, you know, seeing myself like reading all the time, and I was like, I have to look back and laugh at myself. Like, I remember my mom used to try to force books in my hands, and now I pick them up. Like I used to get in trouble for having books in my room, man. I used to get in trouble because they used to have too much books in my room. They used to give me, bro, all type of shit, man. I used to get in trouble. What they used to do to us, bro, that was contraband. I used to have to do hours in my room extra, having books in my room. My bad, I'm getting a little irritated. It's like, bro, jail, prison, all that shit so fucked up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to find any way to just hurt you, you feel me? And like, we had extra books in our room to read, or some people used to like throw them in a sheet to like work out with. And they used to like try to get on that for books. And I remember arguing them. Be like, for book, for really? Like, you proud of yourself, but like locking me in my room or telling me to go up early, or, you know what I'm saying, like trying to hurt me, take my points and my grade away for reading. And then the people who used to stand behind it, because I know they didn't make the rules, but they'd be the enforcers because they on the lower end of the chain of command. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody higher up would make a call and they'll follow it through. But then it's the way they followed it through. They like, some people come to me like, hey man, I don't want to do this, or hey, take this book out your room when I do my search. But it's some of them, they used to like try to find it because they know I like to read. Like, I sometimes forget to come out my room with a certain amount of books, and I'll leave one extra. And they're like, oh yeah, we got him this time. Yeah, let's take his grade away. Let's, you know what I'm saying, to try to hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Now I, you know what I'm saying, I just, you know, I just be chilling.
So this brings me back to a point that you made earlier that I want to explore a little bit. We know that part of free rights involvement in y'all's lives has ended up being, we didn't know when we were starting to do this work as an organization that we would end up here, has been communicating to the authorities the fact that you all are actually doing a kind of work with us, and you're doing great at it, and you're putting together that work, because while you are locked up, the only other reports they're getting are the reports of when you fuck up, right?
Exactly.
So I remember the first time a student asked us, or asked me specifically, can you write me, Cortez is about to join us, can you write me a letter, right, that will go in my court document saying that I've been here and that I've done work, etc., 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 right? So there's that. And now you are talking about C30, about being, having to face consequences for having too many books in your cell. Each of you has spoken about there being a period where you're not really into books and you end up locked up, and then you're into books, and to one extent or another, it's because you start off because somebody brought you a book that was of consequence to you, right? So I want to ask this question. At what point of your education as a shorty, before you get locked up, did it stop being fun? Because I don't know any little kids who don't like to go to school for them first 2-3 years, right? When did it stop being fun? And did you start feeling like school ain't for you? When did you start first receive that message? Anybody jump in on that?
7th grade.
7th grade? Say some more about that, Cortez. Welcome.
I'll say like 7th grade, you know what I mean? Because like 7th grade, that's when the kids could get a little, rough. You know what I mean? Like 7th grade, you kind of still finding yourself. You know what I mean? Like you still like that's kind of 7th grade. That's kind of the grade where you start like, you know what I mean? Where like you start picking what females you like. You know what I mean? Where like that. That's kind of like when you really start picking your style. You know what I mean? But then again, at the same time, some people can't even pick their style because, you know what I mean? Like, they got to go out what they people can provide for them. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, I say like 7th grade, because that's when people start getting like rude. Like people say what they want, you know what I mean? Like in 7th grade.
What kind of student were you before 7th grade?
Before 7th grade, I was like on the road principalist type kid. But then I don't know, it's something like when I got in that 7th grade, you know what I mean, started smoking weed, then like I said, I mean, class was still class, but I just find myself like thinking about other stuff, you know, like zoning out a little bit in 7th grade.
Cool. Miss Obama, what was the most interesting book for you? What is your most interesting book that you've read so far? And what's the point at which school stopped being interesting, if that's a truth for you?
So who stuck to be interesting in a book?
Yeah, tell me first, what's your most exciting book you've read so far, and when did school stop being interesting for you?
I'll stop. Okay. The most exciting book I've read and I'm still is reading is Think and Grow Rich. Behold the Pale Horse by Cooper Williams. Cooper. I'm still reading that book. It's a lot of information in that book.
Yeah, that joint is in the classroom too.
Yeah. So yeah, one of my staff gave me that book too, and when I started reading, I was like, I really don't want to read about this stuff.
Nope.
But as I went through it, it was information like real life information, like that they don't want you to know. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something I need to read and learn more about, do more research. Because she also taught me, like, when you read, don't just read and believe everything that you read. You have to do your own research behind it and look into it. But yeah, I'm still reading that book as well.
I agree.
And what age did school? School never stopped being interesting to me. I'm still going to school now. The only thing I hate about school is certain people. Like, I mean, school is fun to me. It's always been fun to me. But certain people that go to school, it's not there for the right reason. And that's been
Speak on that.
I noticed that since probably high school. Well, I did most of my high school years incarcerated. But high school, like, it'd be like they just come to school just to talk to girls or just just to be there. They just come just to be there. I'd be like, okay, now they in the way. Y'all, they not learning. They not trying to do nothing. They here for the wrong reasons. So so school never stopped being interesting to me. I still like school.
Marshawn, Young God, when did school Cortez is talking about he was an honor roll student until 7th grade. Free C30 said that he was the vocabulary guy in school. But so I guess I'm trying to be leading with my question a little bit. There is some point for young people, especially for young people of color, young Black people, that education begins to fail us, right? And I'm trying to map for you all, like, as far as you all kind of understand, where did education start failing you? Right, like Marshawn, Young God. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Like, at what point in school did you like, this ain't for me no more? Yeah, go.
I mean, the ID homeschool was decent because they double up your credit. You know what I'm saying? Even though I couldn't even stay in the classroom, though, I was getting sent upstairs every day. But you know what I'm saying? I still graduated. They got them credits though, because I was in there for so low. So I still graduated though. You know what I'm saying? It's different from a regular school. That shit, it's easy. You know? So I mean, if you don't got education and you go in an ID home, you can actually get some credit though. You know?
Right.
What is what's the term about send upstairs for those who probably don't understand what that means, Marshawn?
You said what?
So you mentioned the term of sending me up. I kept continuously getting sent upstairs. Can you explain like what that is for like people, for some of our viewers who may not understand what that means?
Like getting upstairs, like getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Getting in a fight. You know what I'm saying? Talking back to staff. You know, talking disrespecting the teacher.
But it's because we live
smacking
down
ladies.
like upstairs from a school area.
I'm gonna elaborate
Yeah,
on
you
that.
actually.
Being upstairs mean like, okay, so we was in one building, but school was on the lower level of the building. Upstairs was the living situation. So when we had school, everyone had the option, or it was mandatory for you to come downstairs to school. But if you had any type of like consequences from the night before, if you did anything to prevent you from going to school, which was being a distraction or causing trouble, then you had to stay in the living situation, which is upstairs, and they'll probably just bring you a packet to do on a in the living situation, which was on the pod, the living pod.
Or stay in your room until school is over with.
For sure. Thank y'all, man, because it's such an interesting relationship as far as like us being teachers in free write and then having to navigate getting, because like our classroom is also in the school area, so it's like a whole nother thing to just navigate getting y'all to get down to like our class and whatnot. And I don't know if this was like a thing for real, like as in like, but I heard a lot about staff using like our class as a means to keep y'all like at bay or something like that. You know what I mean? Was that like a real thing that was happening where they would try to like
like they used to use y'all as
Yeah,
like a thing to hold over our head, like, oh yeah, y'all ass keep tweaking, we not gonna let y'all go to free rate, or like they'll overly like not try to move us to y'all. You feel me? Just to blow us, because it'd be like they know we over, like, man, forget whatever y'all talking about. You know what I'm saying? We trying to go to free rate. You feel me? And they'd be like, well, you could wait, or they'll fake call stuff. You know what I'm saying? You remember how you used to do that? Set the food. You better and then like hold it and let go, and then try to talk like we don't know they be trying to splodge. You feel me? But they'll try to definitely like use y'all as a way to get to us. Like, you feel me? Because they know we want to be with in y'all classroom.
So let me ask this question, and I want everybody to answer this in a kind of a way, in whatever way you feel like. You all have all talked to one extent or another about the difficulty of being locked up and what you learn about people because you read, what you learn about people because you was in that situation. And I've been around y'all, some of y'all, since you've been released, and I see how you all move in the real world, I think that you all have a sense of people. You all know people in a way that's beyond your years. Talk a little bit about how learning to deal with those distractions while locked up, how they're helping you now as you're trying to walk through the world, as you looking for work, as you're trying to go to school now. Like, what are you seeing that maybe you may not have been able to see before? Anybody jump in? Jump in, Miss Obama. You jump in first.
Okay, I'm gonna have you repeat the question because that was a lot.
let me shorten it up a little bit then.
Okay.
I'm assuming that being incarcerated and having to deal with people in that particular kind of situation has enabled you to be able to see people in a different kind of way, right? Mm-hmm. How do you feel that helps you navigate now that you are?
So as of right now, I have no connections with none of the Adi Home staff, like the employees that work there. Mm-hmm. But I will say I already had that different relationship with them when I was in there. I knew when it was, that's their job. So I knew when I could talk to them about personal stuff, and I knew when it's like, I don't know how to explain it because I was also there for 5 years. So I built different type of relationships with different people, and some of those relationships was like, okay, I know this y'all job, but I also looked at them as family. Like, like a good support system. They supported me while I was there. That was my second family. They took care of me. So, in the aspect you speaking on, as far as the experience, it was different for me, but it was a good and bad thing, because people on the outside looking in, people like, okay, why she get treated different, or why they expect certain things from her. So it was like, and I couldn't explain that, but I just had to know when to do something and when not to do something. But I mean, the other staff who was there in the upper, like the superintendent and people like that knew. So when they got these complaints like, oh well, why Destiny doing this, or why can she do this and why we can't? It was like, I mean, they couldn't really tell them like, oh, cause she been here for 5 years, or she, So it was times I had to step back, and it was times I had to be like, I had to catch myself. I had to watch myself, because it came to the point like, okay, now, because I don't want to look like it's favoritism, or they treat me a certain way and they not treating the next person a certain way.
So you had to negotiate some kind of complex personality and situational things over the course of them years, is what you're saying. You had to learn like how to step forward, how to step back, in order to like just make stuff a little bit easier for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, some people understood, and some people didn't. But it was like, it's hard for me to explain it. Like,
I think.
No, I know what you're talking about. They tried to say that this lady also showing favoritism to me, and they told the ATLs and shit about it, but they still ain't do nothing. Remember, Eldrin programs on level 1, level 4 programs, and all the music level 1, and they said that was favoritism.
Yep.
And I ain't even bet.
Yeah, it's one of the things, and I'm not even sure how relevant this is to this discussion, but for the people who are looking on, Free Write is a not-for-profit organization, and so we have these arts classes inside Juvie, and for all other kinds of programming, the administration there there are different levels on which the residents, they judge whether or not they can go to programming, right? So if you're level 4, it means your behavior is as best it can be, and you can go to whatever programming there is. Level 3, it's something else. And I think, you all can correct me if I'm wrong, below level 3, there's like a whole bunch of shit you can't do. Mm-hmm. Free Write doesn't care what level you are. Free Write wants you if you level 1, level 4, whatever, because we recognize that the ability to participate in this sort of community is useful for people when they're having the most difficult time, right? And so this is what some of these young people are talking about when they're talking about being threatened with not being able to go to Free Write, or having their levels like automatically lowered, so then they can't, even though Free Write was never preventing people from being able to come. So we're almost out of time, and I want to give people a little bit of chance to like just say their piece, say what they're working on, and I'm starting to get the feeling, based on we've gone past an hour like real smooth, without getting into some of the depth I know we can get into. But so everybody take 1 minute or so. I want you to wrap up. We're gonna start with Young God. Like, you are right now walking through the world this way. Tell me one thing that you're taking from being locked up that is helping you negotiate the world now. You hearing us, Young God?
What? Wait, you gotta ask the question to somebody specific?
Sure.
I think everybody gotta answer this one.
One thing you took from being locked up that's helping you negotiate the world right now.
Oh yeah. So one thing that from being locked up, that I learned like a skill is like I could read like, well, I don't know, it's kind of always been me. I just know how to adapt in any environment, you know what I'm saying? And like survive. And just like survival strategy, like like survival tactics and stuff, like that's really it. It's because like jail is like in prison, all that. It's like you surviving in a different environment, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta adapt or you gonna sink, you know what I'm saying? So or you gonna get ate. So just learning like things like like how to communicate to people, who like off or like angry or like, you know what I'm saying, anything, you know what I'm saying, for any reason. Communicating with people who have like a fake badge seal of the Illinois, you know what I'm saying, who think like that's like, something amazing to have with some shit on their shirt, you know what I'm saying, stitched in there. How to communicate to like people of higher authority, how to communicate to people of like different races and different regional backgrounds and stuff like that. And then like not taking like, and then taking the small stuff lightly, like not tripping about little shit. Cause I remember, you know what I'm saying, like we used to eat bullshit a lot, so like if, you know what I'm saying, we do go out one night and then a lot of stuff closed, I'm like, all right, we can go to McDonald's. And my friend's like, oh, I don't want to go to McDonald's, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'll let them, you know what I'm saying? But, times you can't trip about, you know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna lie though, the food in the Adi home was.
Yeah, the food in the Adi home was busting though. I ain't gonna lie. But the food, bro, we was in St. Charles, that food was bogus as hell, right? Santana Shorty, we used to eat geese meat.
Bro, you ain't had conversation, we was gonna die now.
Bro, we had commissary, bro. We was gonna be over there, bro.
Oh, man.
Yeah, fool.
What else?
You said geese meat, bro?
Yeah, bro. Literally geese meat, bro.
Wait,
You know, all geese, bro.
The mystery meat?
Mystery meat.
Geese meat was an actual thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, young God, let me hear from you. One thing you took from being locked up that's helping you not to get out here.
Something that helped me from being in the world, from being locked up, is that I know how to like take myself from certain situations. Like when I see a situation occur, I know how to just basically like take myself out of it and go to like just go to different directions. Like to just say like if something's gonna happen on a deck, I alleviate myself from it. That's why I try to basically like just to stay out of the trouble. It helped me because like I used to react and I used to take up for people a lot. So I got to, because like I don't like bullies and I don't like people that just prey on the weak or pick on people. So I used to stick my neck out there for people who can't stick their neck out, can't help themselves. So being in that taught me to not to basically man my business.
For sure. Yeah.
Miss Obama, one thing you learned from being locked up that's helping you navigate out here.
That's a lot, but I guess I can choose.
You could choose a couple.
It's just being about my business, I guess, like being mature. Yeah, I mean, when I was in it, I had myself. That's how I looked at it. I ain't had nobody but myself. So I had to do everything for myself. I had to make sure things got done. And then at some point, like I was even like calling my people and like doing stuff for them on the inside, making sure that like they was good. You know, basically I'm just like making phone calls to other people, telling people, oh, well, can you do this for my mom? Could you make sure my mom's straight? Like stuff like that. So basically, yeah, just stand on top of my business.
Word. I'm gonna put a pin in this because I think we need to have this conversation, this public conversation once a month or something, right? And have different topics. One of the things I want us to talk about in the future, Denzel, Free C30, we've had this conversation a couple of times about the ways in which you all have had to fight your own cases in multiple ways, right? And so I want to have another conversation about mitigation, in which y'all lead that conversation, talking about the ways in which you had to handle your own business. So yeah, thank you for that, Ms. Obama. Cortez, what did you bring from inside that's helping you navigate out here?
Pretty much like what she said. Like, I learned how to make my own lane and stay in it. You know what I mean? Like, man, like, cause when you in jail, bro, like, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's like you came in there by yourself, you gonna leave out by yourself. So it's really up to you if you let these other residents send you off. You know what I mean? Like you came in, like I said, man, you came in by yourself, you gonna leave by yourself. Don't nobody, like she just said, don't nobody really got you how you got yourself, you know what I mean? Like, don't know, and it's the same way out here, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, your homies on the block, they your homies. But nah, actually, let me take that back. So it's a difference between the guys and your homies. And by that I mean, like, okay, your homies is people you know for a fact you can trust, you know what I mean? Like, the guys is just people you done seen before, people you done conversed with before, but people that's not really your homies, you know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, you got yourself, you know what I mean? So I don't really worry about nobody. I don't worry about nobody out here. I worry about myself, you know what I mean? I try to take care of home first, you know what I mean? Like, you will never see me really you will never see me really like call and like ask nobody for nothing, you know what I mean? Because cause when I was locked up, like, I mean, it was like you ask somebody for something, they gonna tell you, like, they might give it to you, but later on down the line, you might have something they won't get. They might be like, hey bro, you don't remember I gave you this? You know what I mean? You don't remember I gave you that? You know what I mean? So I pretty much just like, I don't ask nobody for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't nothing a man could do. It ain't nothing nobody could do for me that I can't do for myself. You get me? So it's like, I mean, I'm in my own lane. You know what I mean? Like, if you my homie, you my homie. If you one of the guys, you one of the guys. Period. Like, I'm just in my lane. Right. And I learned how to stay in my lane. You know what I mean? Cause before I got locked up, man, I was silly, bro. Like, I was silly, playful. You know what I mean? Like, I was all that, but then like jail, like when I got in there, bro, like all that silly and playful stuff, like that's looked upon as like a weakness. You know what I mean? Like, you end up being playful, you end up being silly. They gonna look at you. They ain't gonna look at you like, oh, they ain't gonna look at you like, oh, he cool, he funny. Nah, they gonna look at you like, oh, he a goofy. You know what I mean? They go, oh, he a goofy, he a clown. You know what I mean? Like, so all that silly and playful stuff, like I'm not even really a playful person no more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm surviving. You know what I mean? I'm surviving. I'm making it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm in my own lane. You know what I mean? Like, it's people out here that's trying to get in my lane. You know what I mean? Like, it's people who want me to put them in my lane. You know what I mean? So like, I be on some. You know what I mean? Like, I'm independent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna do what I do regardless. You know what I mean? So just isolation. That's really what I learned. The isolation, the technique of isolation. Like, isolating yourself. Sometimes that's the best thing to do is isolate yourself. You know what I mean? Because with isolation comes nothing but time. I mean, with time, you think. You know what I mean? And thinking in jail, that's all you could do is think. So yeah.
Word up, Santana.
So one thing I took from like my incarcerated experience is definitely like understanding circumstances and situations. Cause like once you understand that, you'll understand a lot more. Cause I like realize people act differently in certain circumstances and situations. So like once I learned how to adjust with that, like maybe the things people say they don't mean to come off in that certain way, but it was the way I took it. So once I understand how people come from different backgrounds and stuff like that, I was able to interact more and network more. That's one thing I'm definitely learning, especially like during this time. Cause like, man, I got out. It's a whole pandemic now, and it's like, you sneeze the wrong way, like people ready to fight, like
literally.
like what's going on at this time. So you gotta understand like situation and circumstances.
Sure.
One thing I definitely learned.
Right. Cool. And Marshawn?
Yes. One thing I learned was not to act off impulse. You know what I'm saying? Everything, and I also learned that, see, I know the consequences now. I know the time that I'm facing. So if I choose to go out here and do something after, I know the time that I'll be facing. And I chose to make that mistake. As far as when you young, you know you're gonna get in trouble, but you don't know you're gonna be facing those 6 to 30 when you do some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you did. But
yeah.
I don't know though.
Yeah, because you're imagining, like you say, you're young. You're imagining that you're a child, that can't possibly be the consequence. Yeah. Anyway,
and they don't really prepare you.
Say
it's
that.
Different from that automatic transfer. It's different from the automatic transfers, bro. Cause they really don't prepare you to go over to the county and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They really don't prepare you or get your mindset right. So people go over there and get treated straight like lame, straight like goofy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't know how to handle that. That's some people, but some people, they know what to do. You know, but for the ones that don't, it's bad for them. Especially for the people that don't got nobody. Like in IHUM, you got food, showers, stuff like that. As soon as you go to the county, you don't got nobody, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? I was lucky enough to have a staff and that to care about me, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's still for me. Asking about stuff today, like, damn, I was just locked up. And when I got out, I got locked up again for a credit card fraud. But it still be crazy. But sometimes it's a difference between love and survival, though.
Difference between love and survival. That might be it there. That's the note on which to end this. There's a difference between love and survival. The people who are looking on, if you joined us through the Free Write link through the Free Write website, freewritechicago.org, you can donate to Free Write's programming, to our ability to be able to pay young people to be able to do more of this work, to pay teaching artists to be able to teach young people to do this work. Straight on the website. Again, it's freewritechicago.org. I would like to thank all of you who tuned in to see the show. I would like to thank again Elgin Bokari Smith, program director, for all the technical capability that he has bestowed upon us. I can't even say words anymore. And I would like to thank, of course, Young God, Free C30, Cortez, Marshawn, Michelle Obama, and Santana for being so absolutely generous with their time and their experiences. If you're looking on and you dug the conversation that is going on today, this was supposed to be a one-time event, but I'm already feeling that we've only started to plumb the depths that we could get to on some of the discussions that we could have, and that maybe this is a conversation we need to be having with the public once a month, at least while we're still in quarantine. So send us a note if you think this is a good thing. Send us a note, and again, send us money, right? And we'll make sure this happens. Let's just go out with everybody telling me, as you leave out, how you feel on a scale of 0 to 10, and give the people one word to go out on. Young God, start with you. How are you feeling on 0 to 10, and one word to go out on? Your microphone.
I said I'm feeling a 10. I'm feeling a 10. I'm not feeling a 10. Every time I wake up, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to wake up every day.
All right. Thank you. 3C30, how you feeling, and one word to go out on?
I'm feeling like a 10, and I'm feeling I'm feeling perplexed.
Okay. Miss Obama, how you feeling? And one word to go out on.
I'm a 10, and my word is exuberant.
All right,
Excellent.
all right.
Cortez, how you feeling? And one word to go out on.
From 1 to 10, I'm probably like a 9. My one word to go on is independence, isolation. So,
Okay. Santana, one word to go out on, and how you feeling?
So I'm from 10. One word I say, probably faith.
Cool.
Faith.
And Marshawn, how you feeling? And one word to go out on.
I'm a 10 and I'm feeling motivated.
Cool. Elgin, how you feeling? And one word to go out on.
Man, I'm most definitely feeling the 10, just because of like how all the amazing people that have joined in on this chat, all the amazing knowledge that has been spread throughout the day from it's one thing as a teaching artist and program director is working inside the juvenile detention center. You don't often get a chance to see what me and Roger get to see weekly, which is how brilliant our young people that we work with, and this is just an opportunity for you now to get just a taste of what we experience every week. So my one word is feeling fulfilled right now. So.
Cool. And
Roger, you froze. It's all good though.
one love. Talk to y'all soon.
Thank you guys so much for everybody who's joined in on this chat, in this conversation. Again, we will be doing more work. This has been the first series for Broadwin Protocols done on quarantine. We will be back again on Thursday with Stomping Grounds. Stomping Grounds is an open stage that is free for young people. There are ways that you can sign up, but just join us on Thursday around 4 o'clock to 6 if you want to experience Stomping Grounds for yourself. Thank you guys so much for listening in on Baldwin Protocols reading series called Confined and Isolated. If you would like to donate and you're in the chat, just go to the link at the bottom and you can continue to just donate to Free Write Arts and Literacy so we can continue to pay our alumni for this amazing work that they've been doing. Again, my name is Elgin Bokhari. I'm the program director of Free Write Arts and Literacy, along with Raj Bonet-Agard, who you just heard holding down this entire conversation. Want to give honor to Ryan Kiesling, who is our executive director, Allende, who is also on this call right now. Thank you to Access JB for your comments and being a part of this conversation. Shout outs to DJ One Solo, who just had their first baby, and all the other alumni that are a part of Free Write Arts and Literacy. We're going to leave you with one piece from a young person who was not able to join us on this call. And the name of this piece is called Freedom. It's by Nakaya. And enjoy this piece, and that's how we're going to end this broadcast for you today.
My name is Nakaya. I'm 15 years old, and I'm representing Team Free Write, and the name of my poem is Freedom. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't ever gonna fly. Freedom is what we need. Life is real, it's not a dream. Why can't they just set us free? Locking us up doesn't make us weak. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't ever gonna fly. No place big enough for holding all the tears you're gonna cry. I wanna be free, I wanna be me, I wanna be whole. 'Cause your mama's name was lonely, and your daddy's name was pain, and they called you Little Sorrow, 'cause you never love again. How can they keep me? I wanna feel the breeze, I'm gonna be strong. You ain't got no one to hold you, you ain't got no one to care. If you only understand Locking us up makes us stronger. We want to be treated fairly. We want justice. We want our broken wings to fly again. So why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't ever gonna fly. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't ever gonna fly. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night. Well, the rest of your day.